Mm-hmm.
So she may be, someone's okay with it on the town hall.
I'm on it as we speak.
Perfect.
Sounds like somebody's blowing into their microphone.
I muted him, Dr. Howard.
You're the man.
Hi, Kirsten. I just left the network meeting.
All right, sounds good. I think we have most of our guest speakers on. Just waiting for a few others.
Okay, sounds wonderful.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kirsten Danforth, the HRO facility lead. I see that some folks are still joining, so I'm just going to give it another minute before we get started. So hang tight.
Unmuted? No, I'm not. I apologize.
Darlene, would you like to give it another moment, or do you want me to go ahead and get started?
Give it one more minute and then we'll start. And if our final guest arrives, we'll pause and then go back. Is that okay?
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks, Kirsten.
All right, well, welcome everyone to this afternoon's Safety Forum, which will be focusing on suicide prevention. Just a reminder to folks that if you don't have your microphones on mute, please do that. Also a reminder that we are recording this session so that staff who could not attend will be able to participate and have the information. All right, so for today's agenda, we will open with a safety story. We're then going to do some HRO teaching that's focused on sensitivity to operations. We want to give a big congratulations to everyone for a wonderful Joint Commission survey last week. We're going to have some time with our patient safety manager to do an overview of some suicide prevention RCAs. And then we're going to turn it over to Bill Breen, our Chief of Psychology. He's going to talk with us a bit about some stories where folks have responded to veteran crisis, and we'll have an overview of some of the suicide prevention activities and outreach that we've been doing. So to get us started, Bill, I'll turn it over to you for our opening safety story.
Thank you, Kirsten. Good afternoon. My name is Bill Breen, and I'm the Chief of Psychology, and I work with our suicide prevention team. I want to start by sharing a story with you. Earlier this year, our mental health service received a call from the specialty clinic on 5D. Staff on the specialty clinic were interacting with a veteran during a medical appointment, and this veteran was angry and frustrated and made several unsettling statements about the value of his own life, including wondering aloud if he should simply go home and die. Our suicide prevention team responded quickly to the specialty clinic, coordinated with staff, including nurse manager Joe Muldoon, and met with the veteran in person to assess his safety and other needs. And may I add, perhaps just as importantly, we listened to this veteran's story. He was a 74-year-old male Vietnam veteran, service-connected for PTSD. He had many medical problems and limited prior contact with the mental health service. He suffered from chronic symptoms of PTSD, intense survivor's guilt, and experienced morbid thoughts and what we would describe as passive suicidal ideation more days than not for nearly 50 years. Our suicide prevention team, particularly Jennifer Corradolo, our outstanding social worker, assessed his current mental status and recognized that although he was not acutely suicidal, it was clear this veteran was suffering deeply. He was frustrated by his experience with the VA and had been reluctant to engage in care, quite frankly, because he did not believe the VA cared about people like him. He self-identified as a Black man who was not valued by society or the VA or adequately represented in healthcare, and he believed he never truly was welcomed home from Vietnam. His PTSD symptoms were exacerbated by all the stress and strain that each of us experienced during COVID, each in our own way, as well as some of the social unrest that enveloped our whole nation this past year. After assessing his needs, our team worked to encourage him and coach him into care, mental health care specifically. We leveraged resources from the mental health system and offered this veteran an opportunity to meet with a therapist who also identified as a person of color and had a strong interest in social justice. This veteran, somewhat unexpectedly, engaged in an episode of talk therapy and participated weekly for nearly 7 months. During this time, his symptoms became more manageable. He felt more connected to his family. He learned about the effects of trauma and experienced a greater sense of safety in the world through which he walked. He also reported no thoughts about suicide during the final weeks of therapy, which truly represented the first extended period of absence from these oppressive experiences during his adult life. I share this with you because I think this is a wonderful example of how medical staff and mental health staff work together. We screen for suicidal thoughts and suicidal behaviors. We identify and then we rapidly respond to safety concerns in whatever form they emerge. And then we work to meet these comprehensive needs of veterans. I think it also speaks to the need to meet veterans where they're at, to attend to diversity issues, and may I say, look beyond the symptoms alone and address human experience as a whole in the service of helping people find greater well-being in their lives. Thank you for taking the opportunity to focus on suicide prevention today. I turn it back to Kirsten now. Thank you.
Yeah, Bill, that's an absolutely incredible story and, really a sign of how well our staff are working together. And so I want to provide an opportunity for our director, Darlene, to share some opening remarks and also to welcome our special guests from the VISN. I think you're on mute, Darlene.
It was a test to see who was listening and not listening. So I said some wonderful remarks, but first of all, before I do the welcome, I want to thank Dr. Breen. Every day I'm reminded of the wonderful work that the staff that are doing, our focus on our veterans, our focus on their needs, our empathy, and doing the right thing for the right reasons. Thank you, Dr. Breen. You were able to tell us that story with heart and meaning, and the wonderful work that is being done by Jennifer and Joe and others. So thank you for picking up on the things that may have been missed. Kirsten, I appreciate you hosting today's session on our HRO Safety Quality Forum. Really, you know, it's the beginning of having open discussion. And thirdly, I'd like to thank our special guest, Dr. Joan McInerney, who is our network director. She is joining us today. She had reached out to many of the facilities and wanted to be a part of our town halls. And so we're having this special HRO town hall this month, and I wanted to invite her. So Dr. McInerney, we thank you for being with us. And if you'd like to wait, or if you'd like to address the group now, that would be wonderful. Whatever you'd like to do. Joan, you're on mute as well. We both had the absence of the mute button. Okay, I think that Dr. McInerney is having some transition challenges, and I'm sure that she'll be able to hopefully listen in, and then we'll hope that she will be able to talk with us. She can't get off mute at this time, but hopefully she'll be able to sign off and sign on again. So why are we doing this open forum? I mean, what is the intent of doing this forum? As we go on our HRO journey, there are key messages that we want to bring to the organization. We want staff to learn. We want staff at all levels to be mindful of what happens within the organization and the impact that they have, to look at systems and to determine whether or not systems impact our patient care. We want facilities that are sensitive to operations, and that's really what we're doing here. We're looking at the different RCAs that we have, and we're looking at how can we be sensitive to the operations and make those improvements. We want to look at those specific things when we're sensitive to the operations. How do we move the organization forward so that we have respect for the staff and for the patients? When leaders listen to the frontline personnel, how much we will learn. This is a forum where we can have that. Perhaps the stories that are being told today will give you an aha moment where you recognize that something has occurred either in your work environment or when you're out in the community that has said, I needed to stop and take a look at what could we do for a veteran that we encounter, or how can we provide better care. It's also to improve our healthcare system. What are the things that we will see and listen to today that we will look at and say, you know, we did not do this appropriately the first time. How do we go back and change those things? Even if we do not directly interact with patients, think about that. The work that you do and the decisions that you make will affect the care that proceeds. So whether you're on the front line receiving those patients that come in, that you're on the phone speaking to those veterans, that you're providing some guidance as they walk through the facility, whether you're serving food, whether you are a housekeeper is providing the services that are needed within the room. All of us make a difference. So those are the key messages that we want to pass on today. Okay. Dr. McInerney, are you back on?
I am.
Oh, good, good.
I don't know why. I think my mic was too hot from being on the team since 8 o'clock this morning. But
So
thank you. Thank you for inviting me to join your safety, your HRO safety forum. I really, really appreciate it. I had asked Arlene, I guess it was a couple of months ago, to talk to one of your town halls, really to thank you for all that you have done through COVID, all that you've been through in COVID. Everybody dealt with it in different ways. I mean, you had patience with COVID, but I'm sure people had friends, people had families, people had fears of COVID, and yet people came to work and took care of veterans. And that's an amazing thing, that when you're facing your own fears, that you really can pull it together to take care of your patients, and that's so important. So I've been limited with the travel to really get up there to thank you in person, but I really want to commend you for all that you did, your participation um, in our incident command and supporting our sites that needed help with staff or supplies, or just some support. And Vision 2 was amazing. All the facilities working together and partnering together, learning together. We are a learning organization, and we learn so much about drugs and proning and how to manage patients and when to intubate them and when not to intubate them. And, it really takes a tight organization to be able to do that. So I want to thank all the folks in Albany, because I know you all participated in that. And I also want to talk just a minute about high reliability, and thank you for being the flagship facility in Vision 2, who took on high reliability before others. Um, you have done an amazing job with it and really, set the bar. We talked to some of the consultants the other day, and they were very pleased with how we're moving forward as a high reliable organization. And now we have 3 other sites that have jumped on board as well. And interestingly, the sites that didn't officially join are really adopting high reliability. I think it really gives a voice to the employee. It really empowers the employee, and without employees, we can't run these complex operations. So, we really, it's a wonderful framework, and it's a wonderful, commitment. And with the working with the just culture, I think as we get more comfortable with that, I think people will put their hand up and say, let me ask a question, why are we doing it this way? And really kind of stopping the line and ensuring that we provide the finest care that we can. And right now we're in the process of doing stand downs regarding patient safety issues in other visions, one of them being Clarksburg, where the employee was injecting patients inappropriately with insulin, and another where the pathologist was coming to work impaired and not doing his work correctly. And, you really start to think, what could be going on, so we all need to keep our eyes open, and we need to respect each other. And if somebody doesn't think something's going right or something doesn't look right, to allow somebody to say, wait, could we stop a minute and talk about this before we go any further? Or, this is how I did it outside, or whatever, and just respect each other. And empower each other to speak up and really ensure that we provide the best care to veterans. And so I really just wanted to thank you for being the leaders in the vision, and for those who participated on the national groups. I think they've learned from you, and that's important. We're a learning organization, and so. Thank you, and thank you to Darlene and to Dick and Amy and Chino. Um, and I wish you good luck in your forum today.
Thank you. I hope you can listen a little bit, and if you, I know you have a busy schedule, but this is where individuals will ask questions and participate in some of the RCAs that we've done.
Okay.
So, but we
Well, I'll
understand
listen for
if
a
you
little
have to
while,
leave.
but I have to do
Okay.
my own stand down at 1 o'clock. So,
Okay. All
okay.
right. Thank
So
you.
thank you,
So,
everybody.
yep. So I want to thank all the staff and especially for the Joint Commission. We posted that in many places, but there were so many people who participated in the Joint Commission. Can't say enough about what you did. Can't say enough about how you moved this organization forward. So a lovely note that was shared with us from the first time ever that I can remember the Joint Commission giving us a note thanking us. So this was left. You know, 1 minute they're here and 1 minute they're gone, but there was a note. So hats off to Marlene and her team because many of them did so much. Hats off to all of the scribes that we have. There are many of you who did scribing. So Kirsten, why don't we, I think, get going so that we can tell the first story and move on.
All right, sounds good. So the next couple of slides take a look at some root cause analysis, and we've got our patient safety manager, Melissa, to review the outcomes of those RCAs with us.
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. I can
We
never
can.
tell.
Yep.
Okay. So I have two root cause analysis to present, and the first one is from 7B, which is our medical surgical unit. And the second is from our inpatient behavioral health. So this first root cause analysis involved a veteran who was admitted, and during the admission process, he voiced suicidal ideation and was placed on an S code with one-to-one supervision provided by our nursing staff. The nursing staff member assigned to provide this supervision noted that the veteran appeared to be moving his hands awkwardly and proceeded to ask the veteran if he had anything in his hands. The staff member then heard something drop on the floor and quickly noted that a pair of scissors had dropped. The staff member was able to